But I think early on, there's no question for guys, given that fans are familiar with, it's probably encourages them to get associated with us more quickly or earlier.
We're going to get off the field.
Kevin, is it putting a player like him, does he go to a draft? Can you sign him? How does that work?
No, that's everybody's going into a pool, and that draft is going to be determined by the league. It's a very much, I'm not afraid, league-centric decision-making process in a lot of areas. No,
no stashing.
No. Which is exactly why. That's exactly why they did it the way they're doing it. So, we off enough?
Putting this way, coach.
Okay, I'm going to look watch you, so I don't want you to trip. Okay, I'm good. All right. So, yeah, no, that's all you need. So that's the thing that's it's so different that in so many ways. Some of them better, but I mean it's just different. So the draft, the people who are going to be put into the draft pool that we can draft from, we don't make that decision. The league makes that decision. Now we'll have to evaluate all those guys, and we'll have to come up with our opinion of them. But we're actually involved initially in the formulation of who goes in the pool, and yet, you know, it's like, okay, now they're in there. Now you know everybody's competing for the same guy, and it still remains to be seen how the draft will go. Will it be like you can pick whoever you want, and you pick a left tackle, and you pick a quarterback, and I pick him, or it's going to be we're all picking quarterbacks first, and then we're all going to that. So there's a lot of this. There's a lot. As I've learned, you have to be light on your feet. So because there's a lot of moving parts that haven't been really firmed up yet.
At your introductory press conference, you talked about being excited for being not just the head coach, but the GM and putting the staff together, and getting everything off and running from the ground up. How has it been for you since that point in putting this franchise together?
Yeah, challenging, very challenging, because you're hiring the video, you're hiring the strength, you're hiring the trainer, you're hiring the equipment guy, you're hiring the personnel people, you're hiring all those people. And as I said to them when we this was our first week, we had meetings all week long. It's the first time we've been together. You know, I said the most appealing part of me being head coach, general manager is my goal is to make sure that the personnel people and the coaches are seeing things the same way. That, you know, the personnel people are making a decision, but they're doing it with the understanding this is what the coaches are looking for, and this is what we want. Now, it's somewhat of a challenge because we don't know who we have, you know, so we have to be broad-based enough in our as we're putting these books together that we have our systems wide enough, because we don't know who we're going to have, and then once we have, we can zero in a little bit more. So it's important that we get the right people, that the egos are in check, and that you can kind of, because there's a lot of you're in personnel, but you're also in operations too, and you're also going to be breaking down film. During the season. So there's going to be a lot of guys that have hybrid positions that are doing a lot of different things. Having said that, this week went really well. I was really pleased with our personnel. They had already looked at every one of these kids. They've already looked at them on tape. So coaches, we were zeroed in on getting the game plan, not the game plan, but the playbooks trying to get done. But they've already assigned all the coaches 30 or 40 names to look at guys, and so they've done a great job. But the only thing that's important is that as they begin to attach an assessment to it, that they understand what we're looking for as coaches. So that's what if I can keep us together, let's face it, all coaches have been in situations where that's not necessarily always the case.
You're going to have this group of players to pick from, and then once NFL teams start cutting down, you've got those last 10 cuts from each of the NFL teams could be marquee players in your league.
Yeah, that'll be an important part of the pool. There's no question. So we'll have a lot of guys evaluated, but the final evaluation obviously will be at the end. Now, if you have a feel for talent and plus you have the proper connections, you have a pretty good sense by the last few weeks of the training camp who's on the bubble. You may not know exactly who's being cut, but you'll get a pretty good feel who's got it. So we'll zero in on those guys, and then when it happens, they'll immediately go to the pool. But again, it's not us that are making the call, it's the league that's making the call, and then we'll draft in October.
Well, you have
8 of these going on now.
What's that?
You have 8 of these going on around the country.
Yes.
8.
Yep.
So basically, what, about 800 players? About
Well,
100
it's a little
each?
over. Yeah, it's at least 100 in every one.
Okay.
There's a couple of them they're expecting more. Like Tampa, they think there's going to be a lot more.
Oh, okay.
You know, I think we had 104 today, or that's what they expected to be. I'm sure a couple guys didn't show, but
So then after NFL training camp, you'll have all those players that
Right.
are now.
Yep.
So then you'll just go by the NFL scouting reports, or you think you'll have something where you'll look at them?
we'll have already looked.
Oh, you already looked.
We'll
Okay.
have already looked at them. That's what I said. We'll have already looked at the guys that we anticipate are the ones we know are on the bubble, and in anticipation that they may be cut. So we'll have already looked at
So
them.
how many players do you think you'll have to look at to then just?
That's a lot. Don't discourage me. Yeah.
Oh, so the 18s will have a lot of players to look
Oh
at.
yeah, oh yeah. There's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. The thing that's different is instead of doing it at a singular base of operations, we coaches will be apart for a lot of it. Then we come back together for a week. Then we're apart again for a long time. So it's different. It's a lot different. You got to be able to have the self-discipline that when you're on your own and you're independent, you're doing the stuff that needs to be done.
So you have a big pool to pick from.
Huge pool.
So you should have a lot of quality players to pick from.
We hope. We hope.
Coach, do you have a favorite position to scout?
Well, I can't help but say quarterback. I mean, that's what I've been involved with for so long. But I mean, I also appreciate that quarterback's only going to play as well as that offensive line gives them a chance, as the people in this New York metropolitan area are very familiar with. But you know, I like it all. I mean, you know, I started my first 15 years coaching. I was on defense, so that's how I began. So yeah, I mean, I look at it all. I certainly appreciate the importance of it all.
Seems like there's been a little bit of a void with the center position. Why do you think so?
I have no idea. I don't even know how to address what position here or there.
In general,
or
just the centers seem to be.
I don't know.
You know, it's something that everyone seems to be looking for.
I never heard that.